Welcome back to the second part of the Chinuch series with Rabbi Yankel Eckhaus, a seasoned Mechanech educator at the Lubavitcher yeshiva system for 58 years, first at Betfred Dean, and then Crown Street, and Ocean Parkway, then Crown Street, and today at Choyvet Torah. I'm Rabbi Chaim Dalfin. I happen to be a student of Rabbi Eckhaus in the early 70s, and we're continuing here with different questions and ideas that we're hearing from an expert, Baruch Hashem. So Rabbi Eckhaus, tell me about the discipline, your thoughts on discipline in the classroom.
Okay, the word you use is proper. It's not punishment, it's discipline. Without discipline, school cannot work, cannot function without discipline. But the children have to also feel that the discipline is for them. A child has to feel that where the Rebbe and the teacher is not there as a stick against him, not there to hurt him, but only there that we can work together, that we should produce what the child is there for. That is the understanding that the child should have. For doing that is, I always believed in having beginning of the year, an introduction. We have like a little talk before we start class, and explain to the children why discipline is a necessity in a school, and why they should understand that it's not only in the school, but discipline is necessary even outside in the street for adults, for people, for older people. Everybody has to have a certain means of control, of understanding that he can't do things which are going to be hurtful and harmful to the next person. In the case of the classroom, it's even more so because you are not letting the other child learn or study, grow in his aspirations or so. So the child has to be first explained what the discipline is about. Now, discipline should not be something, it should be something which is a little bit harsh on the child to the point that he doesn't want to get into the trouble or do the thing that's wrong. Enough to do that, but he shouldn't feel that, the Rebbe is taking it out on him. A person once said that when a Rebbe, in the olden days when they had capital punishment, so a Rebbe would slap a child or use the ruler to hit his knuckles or so, whatever it was. At times the feeling was that the Rebbe was just letting off steam or so and taking it out on the kid. That's no good. That is not a good thing. Before you give a punch, sometimes it happens that you're very upset with the boy. He's acting up and he's really irritating you, and he's really ruining the class atmosphere. Calm down for a minute. Before you issue any punishment, don't issue it immediately, because you're doing it out of anger. It's no good. It has to be where you're doing it with seichel, and not necessarily you always have to give the punishment right away. You can just tell the boy to be quiet or so, and you will deal with him later on. Call him over later on and tell him whatever, explain to him what he was doing in the class, what's wrong. And the boy will feel, I did wrong, but I don't think the punishment is doesn't fit the crime. I wasn't that bad.
Right.
Ask the child to offer what punishment he thinks should be suitable for the
so you should negotiate.
Yeah, let him feel, okay, we understand that you were motioning to this boy in the middle of class, you disturbed him from learning, you disturbed the other boy from learning, or so. Now, you did something wrong. What is going to be possible or good that you can not repeat that again? What do you think that we should use? You understand that it's wrong. I mean, if he doesn't understand that it's wrong, sometimes you got to give the kid the benefit of that. I mean, if it's a minor thing, if it's something that's disturbing in class, obviously you're not going to let him be the judge over here to decide what's what. You know what he's doing to the class. But if it's something that he realizes that he is doing wrong, and it needs self-control. What do you think that you can do in order to get that self-control upon yourself? Is it detention? Is it writing? Is it money? Is it depriving you of something or something like that? Let him be the one to decide. Take him in as a partner. And that, I think, works very well. In most cases, it works very well.
It's worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, I always told the kids, like you said, if you don't like the writing, we said, put down the money for it. So whatever you want, you want to say for detention, is that whatever's going to work that you think is going to work, fine. I am a little bit strict in class as far as eating in class. I don't think that the kids should eat in class. Eating is not it's not something that's going to allow the kid to concentrate in his learning. He's going to be more into his the taste of his nosh that he's noshing away at than he is in the Gemara. So you have to put down certain things and explain it to them. Explain why it is. The kids have to be explained. And if the kids see that you're sincere, you're really trying to get the kids to learn, and you're really there for the benefit, and the kids will really cooperate with you. Generally.
Right.
I'm not saying there's sometimes I had a kid that he couldn't control himself. I mean, there was no control. He had no control over himself. But it was very rare. I think over my whole teaching career, I had one boy that I had to send out.
Wow.
One boy that I could not control. He was not controllable.
One out of 58 years?
I think so. I think I only had one boy that I said I can't handle him. He's not. I had a class of 33 boys, or 35 boys at that time, in Ocean Parkway, and he was just disturbing. Without, whatever class I gave him, it wasn't working.
Right. Since you mentioned the 35 boys, just briefly, what's your opinion about having such large classes?
Well, they couldn't make double. He didn't have the ability to make a double class. I explained
parallel
to you
class
once before.
right.
For whatever reason, it was a financial reason, basically. The Tenenbaum was in a bind over there. So I had to absorb. My kids were coming in, they're coming back. Some kids went out to California then. It wasn't working. They came back, and so they begged him for a favor to put him into the yeshiva. They came first Mesifta.
But in general, you believe in having...
No, 25 is Daiva Heiser, it's enough. I think it's brought down. Chafei Talmidim says, I think it's brought down somewhere that 25 is the limit. I think Rabbi Chaim also said, I think 25 is the limit that you should have in the class. I mean, you have to work every kid. You have to know what every kid is, what he is accomplishing.
So do you believe today there are yeshivas that specialize in classes that don't have more than 10 kids? I mean,
wonderful.
Are you all for that?
Why not? Yeah,
I'm just asking.
The more attention the kid can get, tabi ala bracha. Why shouldn't we?
And it won't lack in the social skills that children pick up in yeshivas, in larger yeshivas and girls' schools, Beis Rivkas and Beis Saras, whatever. What's
the skills? They can play more ball together. I mean, they can be bigger teams. What is it?
Just asking.
The attention is the most important thing. That if I have a smaller class, I have a better chance to relate to each child individually. Some kids need more help than others.
Right.
And I try to give it to them. I mean, I try to give the kid, if I have a bigger class, I can't give every kid the attention that he may need at that time. I try, as I said, you always have to make it in a way that it should be for everyone, but you can't give every kid the attentions more.
Let me ask you, what about this issue of the relationship between the Rebbe, the teacher, Malamed, the girls' Rebbe, teacher, to the student, the closeness, the distance, the give and take, the affection? What should be that type of relationship between
affection? I don't know if that's a proper word for it. To me, affection is a physical word. What you have to show children and what you have to have for children is concern. You have to be concerned for the child. You have to really want the child to grow. I always look for, what did the kid do over the year? What did he accomplish? How much did he accomplish? And did I do as much as I could accomplish with him? As I said just before, a bigger class is going to be harder. You can't accomplish with every child. Of course, the smaller the class, the better it is. However, though, the connection is this child should see that you're there for him. You like the child. You have no misfeelings towards the child. You shouldn't think that you're picking on him. That's very important. Every child should be equal. Every child should be given, that you don't. Sometimes it happens that you like this child because he's smarter or so. That should not be visible to the children. Every child, on the contrary, maybe a kid that's weaker, then you get more nachas when you see that he's growing, so you show the child that you're very proud of him. He's working hard, and so forth.
Okay, so the word is concern.
Concern.
The educator must be concerned with the student.
And show that you are devoted. I mean, I had kids like that after class, I finished 2:45. I was knocked out. I had davening in the morning, and then 2:45 I was finished. But there was a kid that he needed help, so I stayed on afterwards, after 2:45 to learn with him a little bit. And at the end, he comes over to me in the street when he sees me. He's already a grandfather, most probably by now. And he remembers that I spent time with him after class, And I have boys that they took away time from my recess or so. They wanted to do the Gemara and the Taisvus. They wanted to understand it. I showed them how I loved the fact that he, I was deprived from my lunch time, my rest time, but still in all, you show the child that you...
Right.
And I felt it. I was happy that the child wanted. So that's where your relationship should be, in trying to show the child that you're really there for him.
Something that came to me now that's, I think, important, again, briefly, bullying has become a very big issue. What's your thoughts about that?
To be honest with you, I don't know too much about it. I always, if I knew that a child was hurting another child, I would try to stop him. But generally, I did not really mix in too much of that.
Did you see it?
I didn't see it because I was mainly.
Because you had control.
I was mainly focused in my classroom. In the classroom, there was no bullying.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The only bullying that took place was in the halls.
Right.
And I didn't. In a case where I knew it, I remember one kid. I still remember who it was, and he was bullying another boy, and I saw it. And I walked over to him and said, "I'm warning you. If I see that, you're going to have a lot of problems. I don't want to see that." But again, I was not. I don't think I really dealt with it properly because I was not involved in it.
Right.
My job was teaching the class, and it's a very strong thing. And there's kids that became mamish, hurt and harmed because of bullying in this class. And now I realize, I look back, I see that kids were, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. Kids should not be, I maybe was bullied when I was a kid too, but I didn't, we're going to complain to or so.
Right, but times have changed.
It was not something that was an issue in those days.
Right. Now, I want to finish this segment of the second session of Chinuch with you about the answer that the Rebbe gave you, which I think is so important for all Lubavitchers, all Mechanchim, not even Lubavitchers, but especially Chabadniks, to hear the actual words and the translation and maybe a few words of explanation. This is when there was a time in your life, for whatever reason, you wanted to transfer from one institution to Moised to another Lubavitcher institution within the teaching world. It wasn't that you wanted to go out to work. We're not discussing that, or to go to business. It was about teaching. And the Rebbe gave you a very powerful answer. Would you please share that with us?
Okay, it was a time that I wanted to move from a Lubavitcher yeshiva to the other Moised. And
another Lubavitcher yeshiva.
Another Lubavitcher Moised.
Yeah.
And
in a teaching capacity.
Yeah, obviously in a teaching capacity. And I felt that I would maybe enjoy it working over there more so for other different reasons. As I said, I always enjoyed teaching no matter where I taught. I felt that I would feel much more comfortable there, much more satisfied, more happy in working there. And the Rebbe answered me an amazing answer. And the words were, Haloi hu nimtza b'loimed b'yeshivas taimche tmimim v'eifai yimtza atzveita b'daimaloi. Where will you find another one similar to it?
Please translate the first, everything in English.
You are learning.
You're teaching.
You are found. That means you find yourself and you're learning. I don't know, use the word loimed, learning, in Shivas Taimche Tmimim. And where will you find another Moised like it? Now, to me it seems that the Rebbe, even though I pointed out the reasons why I wanted to move to the other Moised, and I may have felt maybe justified in my own eyes, or else I would have not asked such a question. But it seems from the Rebbe that even if you feel a Moised is not functioning the way you like it, the Rebbe wants you not to run from the Moised, but stay there and do the work that has to be done. That was my understanding of the Rebbe. You don't run from a Moised to help, to make yourself comfortable, to make yourself happy. You stay in the Moised and build and work there to improve it the best you can, or at least do the job that you have to do. If you can't improve it because you're not qualified to improve the Moised, you're a teacher, you're a Rebbe, that's all you are. There's other things going on which is above you, and you're not qualified to mix in.
Yeah.
But do your job and try to do as best you can in that Moised. Don't run because you're just going to break that Moised. The Rebbe didn't want Moised to be broken.
Right.
He wanted to build.
So, to me, what's interesting to me, in addition to the answer, is that the fact is that you were going to another Chabad Moised. You were going to another Lubavitcher yeshiva.
Right.
So, do you think the Rebbe was kind of saying that this Lubavitcher yeshiva is Toimche Tmimim and the other one isn't? Or
no? I don't think so, no.
So you take the answer as, in other words, don't break a Moised. Work,
that's right.
Enhance the Moised. If there's an issue, make it better.
That's right. The Rebbe Shitta was always fix, build. Don't run away.
Well, what were those last words? Say them again, the last part.
Well, in other words, for you have to be satisfied that your satisfaction. You're in Taimche Tmimim. You're in Taimche Tmimim. Don't. There's nothing to complain about. You're in a good place. But I think that's what to me that's what the Rebbe was never for running away from.
Okay, we're going to finish here the second segment, and thank everyone for listening, and we will continue very soon. Thank you.